Hey, Tim Unkert here, and in this video, I thought it would be cool to make a worksheet where students must convert fractions to decimals rounded to two places. And I was going to automate production of the worksheet using the C programming language. So let's get started. All right, I'm going to open up my terminal here, and I'm going to make a directory, and I'm going to call it C prog-yt for YouTube, and then let's cd into cprog-yt, and then let's make a directory for this particular project, and we'll call it frac to dec for fractions to decimals, and then I'll cd into that, and let's make a file, and let's call that frac to decimals.c because it's a C program. Okay, and let me just get my screen a little bit larger for you. Okay, and now let's get to the programming. So we have to include some header files, and I'm going to use the time function, so I do want to include that. So I want to include time.h. I want to include stdio.h, and I want to include stdlib.h. So those three header files. And now let's get into our main function. I'm going to do this all in the main, which, you may want to separate this into functions, but for this, it's a little short program that we're going to do to create this worksheet. Okay, and the method that I'm going to use is a lot like some of the other videos where I write to an HTML file, I open the HTML file in the browser, and then use the browser to convert to a PDF. And then I put it on Teacher Pay Teachers. So let's get started with that. So I'm going to say srand, and then time, and null. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to use the time function, which gives you the number of seconds since the epoch. I think that's how I pronounce it, epoch. Epoch? It's basically January 1st, 1970. And then if you use a modulo operator, let's say 20, then it'll give you numbers 0 to 19 because it's dividing and giving you that remainder. And if you add 1, you get 1 to 20. If you use modulo 50, you'd get 0 to 49, add 1, you get 1 to 50, so on and so forth. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If not, leave a comment in the comments below, and I'll try and explain it a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to have some integers here, and this is going to be an interesting program because we're going to have to convert some of these integers into floats to get this to work. And take a look. What do you think of my methods? Could you improve my methods? If you think you can, leave a comment in the comment below. All right, so we're going to have a float, which is the solution. So again, now with an integer in C, it should be noted that if you divide another integer by another integer, it's just going to chop it off the decimal. So if I try and get this to two places, it's going to cut it off. So might not be, so I do have to get those random 1 and random 2, those random numbers that I'm going to generate for my fraction. For the numerator and denominator, I'm going to have to get those somehow to floats. So just stay tuned. All right. Other thing I'm going to do is we're going to create some pointers for our files. So we have FP and just call it FP, it's lowercase FP2. And now we're going to do a for loop. So we've declared I, so I can say for I equals 0, I is less than 100, and then I plus plus. Okay, and so that's basically saying I is going to run from 0 to 99. It's going to increment 1 each time through the loop. Okay, so we have random 1. That's going to equal rand, the rand function, and then modulo 20 plus 1. That's going to give me numbers 1 through 20, right? Because we're dividing the number of seconds since the epoch. We're adding 1 to it, okay? And then random 2 is going to be, we're going to do the same thing. add 1, and then we'll have float. So now we're going to create some floats. So I'm going to say float1 is going to equal to random1 times 1.0. So this is how I'm converting to floats for these. Is it the best way? Maybe, maybe not. If you think you know a better way, comment in the comments below. So we convert those two random numbers to floats, and then we're going to say that the solution, which we've declared as a float above, is going to be float1 divided by float2. Okay. All right. So now, oops, I forgot a semicolon at the end there. So now we're going to print to these files. So I'm going to say printf. We're going to print to the first file. So FP, the one we set up the first pointer, is going to be for the first HTML file, which is going to be the problems. FP2 is going to be for the second HTML file, which is going to be the solutions. Okay. And typically with these type of things, I just put it up on Teacher Pay Teachers in a zip folder, so you have the two files. All right, so we're going to have heading 3, and then we're going to say problem, and then %d. That's going to allow me to pass an integer in. And then we're going to close the H3 tag and then do an escape character and an N, so it goes down to the next line. And I actually want to pass in the integer I, but I plus 1, because remember I starts at 0. We typically want to start at problem 1, right? We don't want problem 0. And we don't want to go problem 0 to problem 99. We want to go problem 1 to problem 100, because we're creating 100 problems. Okay. And then I'm going to say printf. And then we'll have, we'll write to this file again, FP. We're going to write a paragraph this time, and we're going to use the superscript tag to create our fraction. And I'll say %g. That'll allow me to pass in an integer, and then it'll be divided by sub, and then we'll have %g again to pass in another integer. Closing out the subscript tag, and then closing out the paragraph tag, an escape character and an N to go down to the next line for formatting. And then let me move this up so you can see, because I have my font pretty large, the line takes up most of the screen. So random1, random2, those two integers, we pass them into the fraction. Okay. All right. And then for our solution file, we're going to print to that as well. So that's FP2. We're going to print, again, the problem number. So we'll do problem %d, close out our H3 tag, do an escape character and an N to move down to the next line. And again, we want to pass in I plus 1. We want to start at problem 1. And then we'll have printf, pass to this file again. We're going to do a paragraph. We'll say solution. And do quotes, and then a float. I'm going to do percentage, 2 decimals to the left, 2 decimals to the right, F. Close out my paragraph tag, close out, or an escape character and an N to move down, and then the float we're printing is the solution, right, that we calculated right here, float1 divided by float2. Okay. We're going to go outside this for loop now, and I'm going to close both files. So I'm going to say fclose fp and fclose fp2. And then at the end here, we're going to just return 0. All right, I'm going to save that file. Now what I'm going to do is open up a terminal here, and let's now let's compile the file first. So we're going to do GCC, then the name of the file, frac to decimals, output, let's just call it frac to dec without any ending at the end. Went ahead and it compiled. Okay, and now let's run it. Okay, so we do have one issue. Let's take a look at that. Numbers are fine. Hmm. Let's check what our issue is. That's interesting. No, try that again. Just see what that error is. So we'll compile again, and okay, that runs fine. All right. So glibc detected an invalid studio handle. So glibc, okay. Let's see. To isolate a line of code. We might have, okay. I know my error. So let's see what I forgot to do. We forgot to open the files. All right, so we're going to open frac to decimal.html, and we want to append to it. Okay, and then we also want to open frac to decimal solution.html, and we want to append to it. All right, so that should take care of our issue. Let's rerun this. And now we have another issue because we typed in open versus fopen. I haven't had enough coffee just yet. Okay, but I think leaving these errors in is important because it shows you, what can happen as you go through this, and then how you might go about solving the problem. All right, and now we ran it no errors, so that's good. So let's list out. We've created those files. You can see the frac to decimal.html and frac to decimal solution.html. So that's good. And now let's just open the HTML file here, and we see we've written all this HTML. All right. Now, technically, you should have a head of a document, meta tags, and all that stuff when you put an HTML file online to give the browsers and everything information about it. For this, I'm just going to put a couple style tags. We see we have our problem. So the first one's 18 divided by 6. Second one's 20 divided by 3. Let's do something quick. Let's check that our solutions are being calculated correctly. So the first one should be 3. The second one should be 6.67. Really good. Okay, so everything's working out there. So let's include a style tag, and let's say the body is going to be a max width of 800 pixels. We're going to have a margin left of auto, a margin right of auto, and then we're going to have H3 tag. Let's just give it a padding of 20 pixels. And let's actually do this for an H3 and an H2 because I might put an H2 up there. And then paragraph, let's do a padding of 15 pixels. And then let's close our style tag here. And then we'll have like an H2 tag saying something like fractions to decimals worksheet. And we want to give some instructions as well. So we want to say something like convert the following fractions to decimals rounded to 2 places. Okay, and then we'll go up here. We'll have a name. And a date. Put that on the worksheet, and then let's jump to the bottom of the worksheet here and just have another paragraph tag with a style equal to text line center, and then we'll say something like copyright, copy 2021, Timothy Unkert, all rights reserved, and close that paragraph tag. And so that's cool. So we got our paragraph there. And now let's open this in the browser. So we'll open our Linux files. And okay, so we got this one. Let's open it in the browser. Okay, so we've got all these fractions. One thing I might want to do with this is just have an equals after the fraction sign just for formatting. So let me go back to the top here. Let's go down to here. We'll just do a macro and we'll start with this one. And so I'm going to go, I'm in Vim right now, so I'll say QW, and then we'll jump to near the end of the line, go to insert mode, just go back a few and insert an equal sign. And then we'll go down to here and go right to the start of the line and end recording. And I'm going to say now, I recorded this on W, so 99 at W. And it's going to go ahead and just do all that, put all those equal signs in. Cool, let's save it. And now let's refresh it in the browser. And we see the equal sign came up. So we have all the equal signs there. We have our directions. And so what we're going to do is we are going to print this. And now typically when you go to print something like this, now you may want to do something with formatting. I'm just going to leave it like as is because it's 100 problems. I'm going to put it up for $1. But so you may have this header and footer thing checked. And if you have that, then you're going to get those little like the local address of the file. I don't want that, so I'm just going to not do that. I'm going to save this PDF. I'll put it up on Teacher Pay Teachers for $1. And then for the solutions one, I would do the same thing with the styling there, and also put it up in that zip folder. Okay, so that's basically it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to leave those little mistakes in with forgetting the F open, because I think it's good for you guys to see that and see the process. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. You can follow me on GitHub, or if you want to support the channel in a monetary way, you could always go to Teacher Pay Teachers, and I'll have that worksheet up for $1. And thank you for watching. It's really great that you watched this, and I hope to see you in the next one. And I'm going to say goodbye and have a great day.